Hi, everybody, and welcome to a pre-recorded video with Cosmic Sis-Stars, my beautiful Cosmic Sis-Star, Corrine, and myself. And we are, of course, the hosts of Cosmic Sis-Stars, and today we are going to talk about what is the difference between integrity and opinion. I think this is a favorite of mine, right?
Mhm.
What do you say, Corrine?
Oh, I think this is delightful, and uh, when we talk with each other and we start bringing these things up, and we put so much information, we should record that because we practically write the whole thing just in a conversation.
I know, and we almost, before we started recording here, we almost felt
Yes.
like before we proceed now, it's better to actually start the show. I just want to make two announcements. So
Mhm.
if you missed any of our shows, you want to catch up with us, just see what's ahead in time, upcoming shows, or just connect with us, right? You can find us at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. And of course, you can find Miss Corrine here. Sorry, need to find this here. I should have been ready. You can find Miss Corrine here at liquidenergyhealing.com. She has a phone number. If you're out of country, you can call at +1. If you're inside the country, you just call 480-250-1815. And you can reach Corrine with an email, lqenergy@yahoo.com, and read more about her as on angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians, where you can find me as well. So when we are doing live, or even if we do a pre-recorded video, you can always find our videos at facebook.com/cosmic guardians and youtube.com/@angelplaceonearth. So let's dive directly into today's topic, right?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Well, I'm going to just take the floor for just a second here. When words can inspire you through inspiration or tear you down when misspoken, we should take the time to ensure that our words are coming from a place within our heart and not just repeating what we may have heard. This is the time when learning the subtle but powerful difference between opinion and integrity will be the masterful thing to do.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was
Yes.
beautiful because I think many people don't think that there's a difference. Many people think that it's the same thing. If you have strong opinions, that is your integrity.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that's not really true.
No. And as we've been speaking all through this series, we do form our opinions by perceptions that we have and by experiences that we've had and by watching other things. And these are opinions that are gleaned from just looking and listening and so forth. But integrity is something that we have within our being. And it makes an opinion, if it comes from integrity, then it is going to carry weight. It is going to be something that you can depend on. But just an opinion like, oh, well, everybody's saying that we have to do this or have to do that, that's just somebody else's belief and not really coming from a place of love.
Exactly. And it's about, where we say that we have values. Our values, are they based on what we really feel is our truth, or are they based on opinions we have been taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's also interesting because um, integrity like you say, it's something that comes from within. And it's never ever something where I claim that my opinion here is the correct one, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to have you to obey my opinion. That's not integrity.
Mhm. Uh, Integrity, it feels to me, as you say, it's something that we carry in our heart. It's kindness and consideration and thoughtfulness, and basically that do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and being honoring that and staying with that, and not just getting hung up in uh, trying to get your peers to appreciate you, or you're rallying behind them, and or it's an opinion that has been passed down from generations, so it's something that in their mind is truth. But if an opinion ends up harming another person or causing that person distress, that is not integrity. That is just my idea over you.
Yes, exactly. And some characteristics based on opinions, like it could be um, personal beliefs and experiences, but that's still opinions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Opinions can differ among individuals
Yes.
very, very much because it comes from our personal beliefs and experiences and what we say sometimes before we have digged into what are my core values. Because
Yes.
usually maybe we say I have 30 values, but at the end of the day, we come out with, okay, maybe it's just a handful because most of them are based on things that we don't stand for. And opinions can evolve over time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Can be challenged and discussed.
Yes. And if and now the contrary to that is, if an opinion is also formed from integrity,
Yeah.
then it becomes something that a person can their value that
Yes.
opinion because that person is integritous. And it's interesting because um, the American Indian, they don't call themselves Native Americans and all of that other stuff. They call them the first people because they were here first. Okay.
Yeah.
And when they had to deal with the paleface, they would say, "You speak with forked tongue," because there was no integrity when we were dealing with these people. And we would say, "Oh, we're going to put you in this, and you're going to have this land and everything else until we want it." And so, if you're not going to stand by what you've said, and if you are saying something to someone, "Well, I promise when I get this position, I'm going to do such and such," knowing full well, knowing
Yes.
that you aren't going to do that, that
Exactly.
is not integrity. And so there's a big difference. And
There's a big difference. If you come from integrity, you don't override someone.
no.
No, it never happens. You listen to them and you find a way of both parties, if there are two parties, being happy with the results. So you
Yeah.
never ever rule over someone.
And that right there is a classic point. An opinion is something that's almost solid. And if you don't go along with me, then you're against me. Where
Yes,
when you have integrity, you try to find a pleasant place where you can meet in the middle. And it seems to be like opinion is a hard place, and integrity is a place of cooperation, of inspiration, of really finding what's best for everyone involved.
exactly. And, integrity can be said in a few words like being sincere and truthful in your communication,
Yes,
meaning that you don't have a hidden agenda.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep keeping your promises and commitments. And sometimes that may even include, hey, I have to change my commitment right here for some reason, right? But it's
Uh-huh.
the truthful way of doing it, right?
Correct.
Acting in alignment with one's values and beliefs. And that is our core, coming from the soul, who we are, who we truly are, not based on opinions or things that are coming from, or even values that are being imposed upon us that we did
Right.
adapt to, but maybe we are not in alignment with. And taking responsibility for one's actions, plus adhering to moral principles.
Hmm. And that's kind of a little bit of a slippery slope, because if you go into different cultures, morals are a little different. But the moral code of not doing any harm,
Yes.
of when I shake your hand, we have a deal.
Yeah.
And I grew up in that kind of an environment where, there were no contracts signed. If you made an agreement with somebody and you shook their hand, that was your bond.
Yes.
That is honorable, that is trustworthy, that is integritous. And it's almost interesting, because I look for that feature in people, and if I don't see it, it's almost like I don't think I am going to be doing any kind of association, definitely no
Yeah.
business with this person. And so it comes from a deeper place. It comes from a guidance of kind of hesitate saying the word human, because sometimes humans are the most inhuman things I've seen, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But caring for another person.
Yeah.
And
Caring. But I think all of those things you mentioned, it comes from the heart right here.
oh,
And
yes.
that's where our soul is, right? So, like to make an example, um, it's my experience that when we transition over to the other side, it doesn't mean that we are all light and love if we haven't been it here while we
Yes.
are incarnated on earth, right? But usually the soul's perspective is so much easier than what we have here and what we're dealing with. There are no um, traditions, no cultural differences, nothing of that. So if you peel off all of those things and come back to unconditional love, that's where real integrity comes from, right?
Yes. And you see that kind of integritous mannerisms in very, very small children. Before they can talk. I mean, you know exactly when they're crawling to get that toy, they're going to get that toy, and they're
Yeah,
not trying to hide it. I'm going after that toy, and this is me being integritous, and I'm going to get that toy. It's not like I'm going to pretend to get it, then I'm going to let you, and then I'm going to there's no the deviness, and uh, being able to be true to yourself and having that honest consistency of truth, and the commitment to your core values. It's this is what gives us an opportunity to meet a person in a loving way.
yeah. To see them
Yes,
as they are. And that's absolutely beautiful.
yes. And they're dependable. If they say that I'm going to be over to assist you with that, they're going to show up. And if they can't be there right at that moment, they're the ones that are going to call and say, hey, I've got something coming up that I have to do, but I will be there at this time. Is that going to work? So the dependability is a key thing with people that have integrity.
Exactly. Um, I have a good question for you. I usually have good questions for you, right?
Oh,
So,
okay.
so how can you find out what you really feel from here, from your soul, that is ethical for you? How is the best way of coming to that place?
Wow. Did you go somewhere and really look that one up? Okay. I personally try to live my life in doing no harm and uplifting. And if something is being said or done that is offensive or I feel is harmful to another person, then I have a tendency to maybe step in and offer assistance. I never try to give them my opinion, but I am there if they need support in any way. But staying true to myself and staying true to I want to inspire people. I want to at least give them the option of seeing something that might be a brighter way of doing something. So if I were to go against those things and be devious and tell something to someone that was they were going to eventually find out was not a truth, um, that would break my ethics. But I think this is a very individual thing. And but if you listen to our program a couple of weeks ago about living from the heart, I don't think a person living from their heart can be unethical. I mean, if it's real.
Yes, exactly. And I
If
think you've
they have
so spot
integrity.
on. Yeah, they have integrity because it's
Yes.
also about considering others. And on the path, we very often encounter people who may see things in a different way. That's okay. It's their way of
Yes.
seeing it. And I can't say that they are wrong. They are fully entitled to see things as they want to, or even have opinions, right?
Yes.
But it's also not mine. But I think a great example is, and I think we many of us experience this, specifically here on Facebook, and I got some of these messages too. Someone from a page or a profile or something sends a message. I have a message for you. So they are kind of pushing their way onto you, and
Right.
I could see they are putting it in a very intriguing way. So to kind of collect people to click and to move forward and progress
Hmm.
and sign up with them, right? That is not with integrity, because even in this field, we never ever do anything without questioning, asking the question, do you allow me to do this for you? And not seeking that thing or opposing ourselves on others. It's a different thing if you do advertise something, right?
Right.
That you advertise it, but it's not going to be personal. So I've seen horrible things like there's a curse on you, and
I know.
I can help you get out of it.
Yes. Yes.
That's not with integrity, right?
No. And a lead in like that's called a hook. And that just by the way that it is presented kind of makes you feel that there's something devious going on. That
Exactly.
why would they have to go around to try and tempt you into something? And I think people that have integrity, uh, when they say something, because that's what they mean, they don't have to convince you of it. So I find that they really don't have a lot of words. They don't lead up to it. They don't build a big, beautiful picture. They're very straightforward, and there's no trying to trick your mind or manipulate you. And there is so much of that goes on right now, where people actually, that's how they uh, get energy from you, is to manipulate you and get you all tangled up. And
Yeah.
a person of integrity wouldn't go into that at all, you know.
No. And because you mentioned it, getting energy from someone else, there are multiple ways of doing that, and it can be to be over the top sweet and kind
Oh
and
yes.
get all the attention, but you're going to sense there's something off with it
Yes.
because it's not going to come from integrity. It doesn't mean it's going to be evil or anything or a
No.
conscious bad intent, but it's something, people, when it comes to energy, people tend to feel it and they know that I have been given energy this way for a very long time. Or someone can be the total opposite.
Mhm.
So they can be a really negative or angry or aggressive person and they kind of throw at you all the bad stuff they want to say, right? That's another way.
Yeah.
So yes, how can we stay out of that?
I think by, I hate the cliche, but by loving yourself enough to set boundaries and start realizing that uh, you have all of this love to give, but it should not be taken. And energy vampires don't know how to build their own self. And so they live by taking it away from other people. And when we get on the Celestine prophecies, this is going to be a juicy, juicy
Yes.
subject about how people use different tactics. And some, like you said, are very sweet and loving. And all of a sudden you're driving 90 miles out of your way to do this for this person, and you're wondering, why am I doing this? Because it really wasn't necessary. There was an easier way to do it. But that's going to be a wonderful subject when we get into the Celestine prophecies.
Yes, exactly. So we have a plan for the first part of next year. We're going to do a series in January
Yes,
of the
yes.
Celestine prophecy, and that's going to be wonderful.
And the four agreements. So we're going to have a, oh, if we do, but uh, we have so much fun, Anna. I'm telling you,
I know. I'm giggling all the time with you. I
it's
just
just,
love it.
it's like, uh, I do want to tell people when they do something that they love and they have a passion for it, there's always joy. I never in 50 years I've never gone to work. I go to play because I loved being a massage therapist. I love working with energy. It fills me, and then to see the joy of other people. So it's yes, I don't work. I'm very, 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 very busy, but I do not work.
That's a beautiful way of seeing it because you don't do the traditional stuff. You've gone with your passion, and
Yes,
that brought you this way, this far, where you are now. That's beautiful.
yes. Interesting evolution.
Yeah, it is. And um, because this world contains of a lot of opinions all over the place, basically, and it's kind of easy sometimes to feel attacked by opinions.
Uh-huh.
You should. This is what I've done. This is what 10 friends of mine done.
Yes,
Um, and coming from someone telling you that this is the way to success, there's no other way, right? That is
correct.
not an integrity, it's opinion. And even if there are based on what we feel are facts, but there are so many facts in this world that who can really say that something is 100% true? Therefore, it's an opinion,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
And I've used for a long time the expression, when somebody tells you that their way is the only way, run away. And
Was the opposite side.
well, the opposite side, when your heart is feeling a vibration and you feel at peace, you might want to listen to this person and then form your own opinions if you sense that this person is coming from integrity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And another great advice when it comes to this is because we have all these emotions regarding situations, things, opinions, everything, right?
Uh-huh.
So a good way is to, if I, for instance, feel insecure about something and I have gotten advice, right? But I don't feel really sure yet. I don't need to stress it, but I need to go into my own space. Maybe
Exactly.
that means getting out in nature, doing something else, but taking time alone for just a little bit, whatever it takes, so I
Yes.
can hear myself. That's how we can find it, the answers.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Hear yourself. Yourself will never lead you wrong. Yourself is integrity, and learning to trust that it is coming from self and not coming from all of the clatter that's around you. When you develop that kind of a connection, then you are on your way to being free. And I love it when, well, I don't love it, excuse me. There are times when people come to me and they say, I've gone to every doctor and they tell me that I am incurable. And I kind of smile and I say, well, that's a good thing. And they look at you like, what? Because they have finally gotten out of your way and realized that you are the only one to be the cure, because the cure is within.
Many years ago, and I know everybody's going through some challenges once in a while, but many years ago, I went through some tough times. And it's very common in our society that we do listen to others. We're supposed to open our chest, and that's a good thing in essence, right? But not too much. So we clear everything out from ourselves and we state them. We talk to friends, we talk to family, we may talk to colleagues, we may talk to a lot of people, right? And we don't really hear ourselves because we have all these other versions telling us what to do. And I remember that I went through, I think it was a general change. It was not something deep like divorce or losing a loved one or something, but it was a major change. And I said to my friends that I'm going to take a little bit of a silent time. I cherish you all, but I don't need to to hear anything else than where I stand right now. So what am I telling myself? What is going to come out of this? So I went into silence. I still met my friends and I talked to them, of course. It wasn't total silence, but I didn't share all of my stuff until I had found out for myself what do I want to do. So it's interesting, I just shared my one of my personal stories. Of course, I have a bunch of them like everybody else, right?
Yes.
But it is interesting how we sometimes really do need to hear ourselves. And there are people out there as well that sometimes they take it very personal if you state something. I didn't do that actually. So I said, I love you to the moon and back, but I need this time to figure myself out. And I don't know how much time that's going to be, but we're going to still keep on interacting with each other and having fun together. But
Hmm.
I need to hear. I need that time. And I think that was the first time I really took it. It's like taking time off to hear yourself.
Exactly, and that's very vital to making our connection. And after you sharing your story, it brought up a couple of things with me as far as um, there have been many times, and I've been attempting to become more visible in media, and I have at many times asked someone that I thought had integrity. I
Yeah,
mean, they showed me that they had integrity because they got some of the things done, and then when it came to the nitty gritty, they disappear and leave me in a lurch. And that is when you're depending on somebody and they don't follow through. However, my dear friend who is helping me get all of this stuff organized, she's been very, very physically sick. And yet, when she says she'll be here to help me do something, she shows up, and that to me is integrity. That
yeah,
means that you're going to, if you make a commitment, you will stay to it, and
yeah.
make sure that you have fulfilled your part of the bargain. And
You know, exactly. Many times that actually means that you have conversation and you say that um, maybe I'm out of business for just a short while because of something that happened, right?
correct.
Um, but it's about the respect and the integrity of showing someone, talking to them, having the conversation, not
Hmm.
going. That is not the moment to go silent, right? Because that
Yes,
is not integrity.
and following through, and when you know that somebody means what they're going to say, and you can depend on them. And I think that ability to have that integrity is as fragile as truth.
Yes.
And when you break a truth with someone, or a trust like in a relationship, it's like a snowflake. It will never ever ever be the same. It might work and come into where we can make a snowball out of it, but it's not going to be the same intensity as it was before it was broken. And
No.
I think that this to me is what shows a person has that kind of integrity. That um, and I look for it. I value it. I value it.
I know you do because you're one of those who actually see beyond things and you don't take it on to you. You don't take things personal at that. It doesn't mean that you don't see. There's a big difference there as well because you are secure in yourself. You found yourself. So
Mhm.
that is the beautiful part of it. And that is why it's so worthwhile to work on oneself, right?
Very, very definitely. And it does take, like anything beautiful that you're going to create, you have to put the effort into it. You have to put the sweat and the tears. And but once it is done, then you start expanding from a higher plateau. And once you start living within your heart, you can continue growing into a place that is beyond words.
Yeah. And you know, you talk about trust, and that is so important also because it takes a second to ruin trust, but it takes a long time to build.
It really, really does. And especially also when adults are dealing with children. When an adult thinks something is funny by giving and taking, and at first it's a little bit of a game, but after a while, the child can't trust you. And when you break that fragile trust, you have broken something that is going to be carried through that child's life and into their adulthood. So be mindful. Again, we keep talking about being mindful with
Yes,
the words that we say, with how we say them, and using humor where both are really enjoying it, and not one that is torturing the other, and the other is is just giving in because there's no place to go. So
exactly.
yeah,
And not being judgmental, because judging someone is not being in integrity,
not
because
at all.
no one can say what someone else have been doing, whatever it is, if it's right or wrong, because they didn't walk in their shoes.
That's very, very true. And if you have, if you're truly coming from integrity and you're coming from self-love, you're going to want to make whatever that person is going through, or what you and that person are going through, you want to make it so you both come out, as they say in Japan, and saving face. Because saving the integrity of someone else is as valuable as being of integrity.
Exactly. And when we are sharing opinions, because no matter what, we all have opinions, right?
We
But it's
do.
very opinions, as we mentioned before, it's very, very personal. So when we are sharing our opinions about things, it's very important to avoid personal attacks
That's true.
and to use a good language, right?
Correct. And we've all heard the word, that person is opinionated. And that literally means that no matter what you talk about, if you say the sky is beautiful, they're going to say, well, not today. We've got a storm coming. Or you say, um, I went to this play and I really enjoyed it. Yes, but the results of that were just terrible, and I don't know why you went to it. They've always got their opinion about something, and those people, a lot of times I look at them and I just wonder if there's anything between the ears at all. No, it's
What I say in those cases, I'm approaching it from the funny angle, right? So I say nobody home,
nobody home. I
nobody
know
home.
when I was rearing my last child, to my fortune and her misfortune, I had already raised 5 children. So I kind of had just about heard anything that a child could try and get away with. But she was extremely evolved. And I would tell her that, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it doesn't necessarily have to agree with yours. And you can also talk to people that way and say, I value your opinion. I understand that that's where you're coming from. It just
Yeah,
is not my opinion. That may or may not work with an opinionated person, but it will work with somebody that you kind of give just kind of step back. And that's where using integrity rather than just getting into an endless debate. And it really doesn't solve anything or get either one of you to a higher knowledge or a higher wisdom.
no, it doesn't. And when we also state our opinions, taking responsibility for them are important. So we own what we are saying, and therefore we own what we state. And that also means that we are integrity when we um, take that into account, you know?
True. And I find that people with integrity, when it gets to be a situation where somebody else has to be right, and there's going to be that kind of a conflict, um, silence is our best tool to
Yeah,
just, you know, let them keep saying what they want to say, and give an occasional nod. You don't have to agree with them. You just don't have to be drawn into it, because there again, when we were talking about personalities, uh, people want to draw you into a conflict and want
yeah,
to get you riled up about, um, and without going into right or wrong, up or down, blue or white. This happens especially now when we've got an election coming up, because everybody has their opinion, and
yes,
by golly, they're going to shove it down your throat, or they're going to go to battle with it. And all that does is creates frustration, chaos, fear, and anger,
yeah.
and
And
um,
drama.
and drama. But that's how they think that they're going to have an upper hand. Where dealing with people that are just in their absolute, and that's, I think, when people have an opinion, they do get into the world of absolute. This is absolutely the truth, the only truth, so help me. um, Staying away from those situations, and and letting them enjoy their own truth.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to try to uh,
Convince someone.
no,
No.
no.
There's no gain in trying to convince someone. If,
No, there isn't.
no, if we have different opinions, we can take on curiosity instead, and we can
Ah,
just
yes.
listen. But it depends, of course, what they are serving with their opinions, right?
Yes.
But it
And
can be interesting to see and
that's
hear.
true. That's true. And before everybody got into this political correct BS, you could have you could have a group of people and have heated discussions, exchanging information, da, 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 but no one was in there to win or to be better than. They were just throwing these ideas in the pot. And discussions were wonderful because it gave everybody an opportunity to hear a different perspective from a lot of different things. But now it's either or. And
Yeah,
to me, that is a loss of integrity.
yeah, it is a loss of integrity. You know, we can talk again about the difference between integrity and opinion, um, and trying to navigate through the difference.
Mhm.
Integrity comes more from your true self, right? If we
Uh-huh.
go back to talk in a spiritual way, in a spiritual manner, it's
Yes.
it's what the soul is telling. So, to be honest, when we are walking this path and when we are peeling that famous onion, we start to realize that there are not so many opinions that are so strong anymore. And the values we thought we had, they are usually being narrowed down to just a few that are really have a huge essence for us, right?
And that's a very, very good point, because I've heard it referred to in a lot of different ways. It is banging away at a subject until you get a person to change their view of what is normal. And things that would cause you to be alarmed from their very essence, they're being nullified by that constant barrage of changing that opinion, and basically turning black into white and white into red. And this is something that if you come from integrity, you really aren't going to want to change your core views of being compassionate and loving and considerate. And you would never give up that as your norm, no matter what society said. It's not popular anymore to be kind. It's not popular anymore to be concerned about someone. It's not popular anymore to go out of your way to help someone or to stand up for your word. You don't fit in anymore because that's not popular. And when you stick to your truths and your core truths, that's why I said when you are around someone that comes from integrity, it like glows like a candle in the dark.
It does. And it's you mentioned something about the path, and something else interesting. And I hear this question a lot because a lot of people fear when the change and transformation comes, because some people are walking out from their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they, going through a transformation, which we do quite often on this path, because we peel the onion, basically, right?
Correct.
Uh, and we can change a lot of things. We can change anything that is in the outer, like work, where we live, clothes, the style we have, things of that nature, but also stuff we have in our house, like clearing away stuff. We change. Um, our relationships change,
Mm-hmm.
and many times, if we have worked with someone for a certain amount of years, we may come to the point where we feel we are not in alignment anymore, and that's when people step into fear.
Yes.
And equally, if it's a friendly relationship, because it's like we don't fit together, we are not in alignment anymore, and that creates a whole lot of fear. But it's not nothing to be fearful of. It's a natural process. It doesn't mean that we need to judge someone, or think that they are less and we are above, or anything, right? Or we are less and they above. It's just that um, it's changes that are coming. And some people, we are walking from the day we come in here all our lives until the end. But we are walking together. And I think walking this path also with integrity means that we don't adapt to things that are out of alignment with us, right?
Yes. And if we're not seeking to be popular, we're not seeking to really stand out. Um, when you really start walking with self-love and integrity, it is not important that you change the world by telling everybody your opinion on that
Yes,
and
exactly.
and trying to be right. It's more of a silent movement. And when you are in a relationship that has changed and there's no longer any inspiration or nourishment, as you said, it is not a failure to step out
No.
of that relationship. And if people could understand that it really isn't personal. And a lot of times, even after discussion, anybody observing would know that it would just be a logical thing to do. But there again, with the four agreements, you take it personally. It's,
Yes.
I have to prove that I didn't fail, or I have to prove that you're wrong, or you're the bad guy. And all that wasted energy. Um, and well before I even realized that I was walking this particular path, when my husband and I were ready to make an exit, I understood that I had given as much as I could to the marriage. And if he was not going to be happy in that situation, I mean, this is after 23 years, folks. It wasn't like, gee, I don't like you, I'm leaving. Um, but I loved him enough to let him go. And I
Yeah,
loved me enough to not go into that, well, I shoulda, I coulda, and everything else, because I wasn't going to destroy myself, and I certainly wasn't going to destroy his life. And in by doing that, I saved his relationship with his 5 children. And to me, that was a greater goal than he done me wrong song, you know?
yeah, yeah. And
So,
it takes a great deal of strength to see that and to do that,
mhm,
because many people, and I think I mentioned this before, many people think that being the one being left behind is easy, or being the one walking away is,
neither.
yeah, it's even easier to walk away, right? But it's not. But it
No,
takes courage, and sometimes either one could be the one understanding that we need to release this because it's not functioning. And many times also it depends on what intention we had when we got into it. And now I'm talking about two intentions because it's always a two part,
true.
right? And sometimes we are unconscious when we step into something and we grow. And then we realize things, and it doesn't mean that that time is wasted or is wrong what we did, because it's always a purpose with everything, right? So that's why we cannot make the wrong choice.
Exactly. And I know that I was living my integrity by doing that. I
Yes,
wasn't giving up, I wasn't giving in, I was releasing. I was allowing for something to flow that was going to move into something else. And there have been many times in our 40 years that we've been apart that he has uh, told me that he didn't handle things the way that they should have been handled. But I told him, I said, you had the courage to step away from something that was not healthy for either of us. And I would have never been able to move into what I'm doing now had he not had the courage and taken the step. Now, it didn't seem like that at the time because, you have emotions going on. But I understood that from that break, I had been integritous enough to say, let us put a period at the end of this sentence and let us both see what else is available to us. And it has turned out to be absolutely a wonderful situation. I mean, the he had the companionship of the children. I have gained his undying respect, and I didn't do them for that gain. I did them for me because I didn't want to live out of integrity and live in that miserable, well, he'll come back to me. Well, she just did this, so he's going to get mad, because that's childish.
it is, and it's not going to help, any kind of situation. It's
No.
also, which brings us into forgiveness, which is so important too, right?
Yep,
Forgiveness is not about saying, for you, for your story, for instance, that what he did is okay. But if you didn't go into forgiveness, you would have stopped the energy for yourself, not for him.
that's right.
And you would, maybe for the kids as well, because they were living with you, right?
Hmm.
And also, you would have kept yourself in that loop and spiral of energy with grudge. That wouldn't have helped you anything.
No, because that worry and grudge and jealousy and anger and revenge, uh, those are all big knives pointing at you. They never, all of that is never, they don't feel it, you know. And every time that you're miserable to try and make them miserable, then you're twice as miserable. So i I didn't have time for that. I had to find out what this new opportunity was, you know.
Yeah. And it's interesting because many people live by, I know what I have. I'm too scared to move forward because I don't know what I'm going to get.
That's true.
And holding oneself in a stuck situation, that's not going to be better. And sometimes for certain people, maybe it's not a very long process. It can take a few months, maybe. For
Hmm.
others, it can take a few years. But think about this. If you, I'm not stating that we need to stress ourselves and rush into anything, but when I'm not happy with the situation and I can see a lot of symptoms around from both parties, for instance, in a marriage or
Hmm.
committed relationship, if I if I'm not making any changes at all and I am a little bit aware about these things, right? I'm going to sit maybe next year in the same situation.
Yes.
So what is the gain with that? There's no gain.
And there is no gain. That's why when you are in love with yourself, you realize that in order to make this beautiful jewel come to life, you kind of have to chip off some of the stuff that's a little rough. You have to give it a little buff here and there. You have to, you know, kind of make it into something that you're going to want to present to the world. And that requires going into the closet sometimes and finding those shadows and cleaning them out and trusting that you
Yeah,
have the courage to look at these things and say, well, that's not serving me anymore, and it definitely isn't allowing me to shine. And anytime we're in a change situation, that gives us an opportunity to say, well, why am I reluctant to move a little further?
yeah,
And if you go into your silence and you go into yourself
yeah,
with love.
yeah. I can state I'm going to make it short this time because I did this quite a few years ago. It was a rough time. There were a lot of changes going on around me. I wasn't in a time of a big change like separation or loss of a loved one or something like that, but it was still a big thing for me. It was a lot of changes, and I learned from childhood to open myself up and to talk about things because that's what we are expected to do. If we're not doing that, we're not a good friend. And that's
Yes,
kind of interesting.
yes,
But I actually came to the point when I said to my friends, I love you very, very, very much to the moon and back, but I'm not going to talk more about my what's going on with me right now because I need to hear myself. I
that's
don't
that,
know how long that's going to continue. It doesn't mean that I don't value when you're giving me advice or telling me your opinions, but I need to hear mine now. It's me
yes.
time.
And interesting, this is more critical than most people give it credence. And that is, for instance, if you're thinking about uh, releasing body weight, or you're thinking about running a marathon, or you're thinking about opening a business, or you're thinking about writing a book, keep those close to your heart, because that's when people's opinion start coming in. Well,
Yeah,
it's not the right climate for that. Oh, this, oh, this, oh, that, and everything else. And you really need to be listening to your heart and to the heart brain connection, because intuition and inspiration are trying to guide you into something that is going to make you uh, move into that beautiful place that you came here to be. And
exactly.
in the silence, and as you said, I understand that you're coming from a loving place and that you want to help me, but right now, just shut the up.
Exactly. And you know that there's another aspect to this if we think about everything as energy, since everything is energy.
Exactly.
So when we are stirring up, I have a wish or something to do, and I'm not really sure. Maybe I have choices to make, right? And
Mhm.
I have different choices that I can pick and choose from. If I don't hear myself, I'm going to, no, I rephrase that. That by itself are a lot of energy movement, right? And then I have all these opinions coming to me,
Yep.
statements. That's going to be another likewise amount of energy, maybe more sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to start to go into my mind. So maybe they are right. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I can't do this, or maybe this, or maybe that, right?
Correct.
So I think that the best thing is actually sometimes not to open up for the Pandora's box, right? For all these energies until you heard yourself and you know which direction you're going to head.
Yes. And each time that you speak it or discuss it with somebody, that's pulling energy away from what you truly want to do and what to be. And it doesn't mean living on top of a mountaintop. Of course, that could be appealing at sometimes, but trusting yourself enough to try it on, look at it, get your own opinion
Yes, exactly.
yourself, and then being firm in it. And then if it fits all the criteria, it's coming from integrity, it's coming from love, it's inspiring me, it is giving me an opportunity to see something else, then that becomes you, and it doesn't flitter away because someone happened to say, well, you're never going to be able to wear pink. I mean, it's
Yes.
and
Plus, there's another. Yeah,
yes.
sorry, go ahead. No, go
Well,
ahead.
Wayne Dyer always said the opinions of others, good or bad, are really none of your business.
Exactly. Um, and sometimes when we have feelings of doubt, we're doubting ourselves, or we get angry about certain things, there's a lot of energy in that too. So if we are conscious, we can work with the energy because all energies have polarities. On one side, we sense that it's towards what we label as negative, right? On the
Yes.
other side, it's positive. So the anger, in my experience, sometimes when we're angry about something, there's so much energy, it's kind of compressed somehow, right? So we
Yes.
can use that energy deliberately when to work ourselves towards the other side.
Well, it's amazing that negative energy and holding negative thoughts actually tires you out more than having happy thoughts.
Exactly.
And your cell remembers this. Now we're going to go cellular here. Your cell will remember that negative vibration because it's really strong more than it would the positive. So feeding yourself positive, inspiring uh, ideas is going to change the chemistry in your body. It can actually make you sick or make you well.
Yes.
And and being conscious of this and making a choice of anything that I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it in that positive vein. And it might work, it might not work. But you know what? It's going to be my work.
Yes.
You know?
It's going to be. And it's interesting that we actually, whatever we set our mind and feeling for and heart in, we can make it, we can do it, we can.
Mhm.
Everything, everything.
I can.
Yes.
That is a sign language that they taught my daughter when she was 6 months old. Uh, she has hearing and sight and speech, but at 6 months they haven't learned how to vocalize words. So we would talk them in sign language, and she never went through the terrible twos because she had a way of communicating. She could tell me what she wants, so she didn't get frustrated because I wasn't understanding her language. And so, but I remember that, I
I
can.
can. Exactly. So, do we have any last advice for a good approach to think about integrity and opinion?
Well, my fondest wish is that everybody take the time and the energy to really get to know and love yourself. Because when you start with that, then everything else becomes so much brighter. Maybe not easier, folks, but it does become brighter, and it becomes less less burdened. So
Yeah,
the load that you're taking or what you're building, it's not going to break you, and it's going to inspire you. And as you as you step into that self love, it's going to go into everyone else. And you will be able to recognize a person that is coming from integrity as opposed to one that isn't. And you can choose at that time to engage or to disengage. So that's the
exactly.
beauty.
We always have choices. Our power, personal power, lies within the choices. Doesn't matter what
Exactly.
we have been choosing in the past or
Correct.
what we think we are um, cut off from. We have every choice to make for everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let us shine. Let us be out there and honestly keep your opinions to yourself.
Yeah.
and and uh, and just be in joy.
Or if we have an experience of something, an opinion about something that we feel can add to someone else, we can express it. But we are not to assume that they are supposed to follow,
Exactly. And
and not
express,
being
yes,
not being angry if they don't, right?
yes, and expressing it as, in my opinion, da da
Yes.
da 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 da. Da. That
Ah,
way is just saying this is my personal way that I'm seeing this, and I'm sharing it with you. Not
yes.
this is the opinion of everyone else, so you got to be that way or you're not normal. Well, thank goodness, because I don't think I've ever been normal a day in my life.
I think, to be honest with you, no, I haven't either.
No,
I haven't either. So, um, this have been a really intriguing discussion.
it
I
has been.
just love to do this with you. It's fantastic. It's intriguing and mind blowing and a miracle. And we do hope that we have at least started Sometimes it starts in here for certain people, and
Mhm.
then it comes from in here. So starting to be aware and question things and question opinions sometimes. Where do they come from? Is it mine?
Exactly.
Why do I have that opinion about something? Because we come from our experiences. That's how
Yes.
we function in this world. But there's another way, loving yourself, going within.
Yes. One of the things that I am taking away from our conversations and having the privilege to just actually um, discuss these things, it is encouraged me again to reevaluate and to become a better version of myself, and
Yes,
taking them and talking about like this, even though we try to live them, it's like, yeah, babe, let's polish that off, and let's bring that to the forefront a little bit more. And my greatest wish, and I know yours too, is that we have given you an opportunity to look beyond.
yes, to look beyond.
Look beyond.
So thank you, everybody. You have been watching Cosmic Sisters at Cosmic Guardians with host Anne and Corrine. And we go live every Wednesday and Friday on Cosmic Guardians, and Wednesdays are for us Cosmic Sisters. And we love having these conversations with us. And you can find out more about upcoming shows and past episodes and connect with us and everything else at angelprisoners.com/Cosmic Guardians. And I'm saying love, life, peace, and joy to you all.
And love, light, peace, joy, and laughter.
Yes. Bye.
Bye bye.